Nightly Musers, followers of the pod, faithful few and hopeful many. This is Anchor by Spotify. If you haven't heard about it, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. It's the very platform that allows me to give you what I give you on the nightly. So let me explain. Anchor has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. And it gives you the ability to distribute your podcast on listening platforms like Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and so much more. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. And best of all, Anchor is totally FREE free. So here's where you come in. Download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That is ANCHOR.fm to get started. Thank you very much. Peace. Welcome to the Nightly Muse podcast. This is your host, Tinayeshe. Shout out low fly. Let's get going. So close to freedom. So close to being able to be an unmasked Philistine. I am still in my room. I don't technically need to just isolate, but I ain't got nowhere to be, and I'd rather just be safe and stay in my room than be out and about gallivanting all over the place like a baboon. Anyway, I've been doing this for some time now. What is this, like episode 38 or something? Maybe 35. One of those. I think this is 37. This is 37. I just wonder if people, whoever listens to this, fellow content creators, if you find yourself like, I put out this stuff on the daily, nightly, and I do stuff with, Instagram and Facebook in terms of putting my music out there and covers, originals, just stuff. And man, like, it is so easy to get wrapped up in self. Whether it's comparison mode or just like a discontentment with how your work is being perceived or experienced. Like, I have this thing, I do it through Anchor. I'm trying to get ads put on here so that I can make money. And it's taking some time to get that done. But anyway, the platform allows me to see like my analytics, and it's kind of unhealthy for me. Like I feel like I check it. I don't check it super often, but I'm like, my other podcast with Life in Between, we've got over 1,000 listens now. And not listeners, just listens. And that took a lot of work. I mean, it was, Teve's branding ability and, like editing work. Like we did a lot of work together to get to a place where we could get that much interaction and engagement. And it was really exciting to see it grow. And now doing this one on my own, I find myself, it's like, man, like, why am I not hitting Life in Between numbers? Or when am I going to hit 200 or 300 or what? Like, you're never satisfied with your own thing. And you're always like comparing yourself to whether it's something else you've done before or, Instagram with the algorithms and the reels, and I'll post a song video and it only gets a couple hundred views, or I'll put not a lot of work into one that gets a couple thousand, and it's like, what is the what is the secret sauce? What is the magic? And I'm constantly like refreshing my Instagram to see if people are liking it, and why do I have this many views but not as many likes? How come this one hasn't gotten as many comments? Like, you're just constantly, why doesn't this podcast episode have more views or listens, I guess, because it's auditory. You just find yourself constantly like checking for affirmation, checking for virality, I guess. Like you're checking to see if people are seeing what you're doing. And it's exhausting. And it's gotten to the point where it's like, man, like, could I, I've given up social media for Lent before, and I'm like, man, like, could I give up social media for Lent? Like, would I be able to do that and survive? Not in terms of like emotionally, mentally, like I'm not worried about losing followers, but it's like self-promotion, my music that I want to come out with this year. The pod, like there's an amount of social media engagement that's required, that feels like it's required, that makes me feel kind of shackled to this thing of like, can I take a break? Can I what's the phrase? Good Lord, I keep forgetting it. But like, can I shut off for a little bit? And I think about when I did do unplug. There we go. My goodness. Can I unplug? Like, I've done the social media fast before, and man, I remember that being one of the best seasons of my life. During Lent, the comparison game, the like mental clarity, the freedom from lust, like just the general clarity of mind that came over me. The like, I didn't feel lonely in the same way that I normally do. Like I wasn't constantly like looking at other people's relationship and struggles and struggling with like envy. Like I was just doing me. I was writing music and just enjoying. I was reading books. I was filling my time with other stuff and more present with life that was actually happening and not this virtual world that we've created. And it was so refreshing. And like when I came back to social media, I was like, man, like this kind of sucks, because it all just kind of comes back. Like, I think you take the break and you come back to it, and I feel like your mind is in a healthier space. So you're not like, the first thing you run to is an Instagram. But over time, like you get back into gear super easily, super quickly, gradually, but like it feels like a blink of an eye, and all of a sudden those same issues that you had before. And it's like, man, like there's got to be a healthier way to engage and do this. And maybe it is taking regular pauses from social media. Maybe it is taking breaks and unplugging. I don't know. I guess this episode is here to say that sometimes I'm doing a nightly podcast, and that comes with it kind of always being at the forefront of my mind, producing content. With my music, I'm kind of always passively thinking about that, and now it's more actively thinking about it because time to record is coming. And yeah, it's interesting, like wanting to be consistent, wanting to be fully into what I'm doing, but then also knowing that sometimes it forces me into this headspace that isn't good for me. And like, what do I do there? And some of it, I talked about this in earlier episodes. It's always kind of convicting to me how I can put the work into getting this out there for the most part every night. And I can't even, it feels like sometimes I can't even read my Bible for a week straight. And, what does that say about my heart and what I truly desire, right? Like my head knowledge of what I say I want and my actions, right, aren't always in alignment. And maybe if I was more consistent there, I'd have a healthier mindset about the things that I was doing, because I'm attached to the giver of the gifts that I possess. And when I detach myself from the giver of those gifts, then my gifts kind of become unhealthy. And so I wonder if that, I'm sure that is an answer. But to anybody who's doing the content thing, I would love to hear some of your solutions and how you maintain a healthy mindset about it. This is, I guess, me kind of reaching out to y'all, because I'm newer in this space, definitely new in the solo version of the space, and it is. That's one of the things that I struggle with the most in terms of like posting snippets of myself doing music, like, and wanting to do that regularly, is I have to have a short memory, because I'll be thinking about why another video didn't do as well, rather than just enjoying it. Like, sometimes it's like, am I doing this for the enjoyment of it, or am I doing this for the response? And maybe that's the question that I need to leave y'all with, because that's the question that I'm currently facing right now. So that'll be episode 37. Shout out Low Fly.